YouTube, how are we doing today? We have got a banger leg day for you. We're going to rinse some quads as usual and a little bit of hamstrings, a little bit of adductors and a little bit of glutes. Now this is going to be my last day of fitness in terms of my little free trial that I've been doing. I'm not sure right now if it's going to become the temporary home or not. Probably going to check out a couple of the facilities in the area for the meantime, but this is going to be the test really then if I can actually fully do my split the way I wanted to do it. If not, we might have to relocate. So what are your views on LA Fitness? Throw it in the comments. I don't know if people like that. I kind of do with some of the travel aspects of work, that you can access any facility that you want to access nationwide, which is nice, but at the same time it is a little crowded compared to the last place that I was at. So it's one of those where maybe I'm just going at peak training times, or maybe everybody has the same idea as me in terms of getting in when they're not working. So we're on the weekend right now, so that means this will be the true test. Are the weekend warriors in there, or is it going to be empty? We're about to find out. And the other thing that I want to quickly talk about, because this has been doing the rounds on social media, I put a little post on TikTok about this, is Dr. Mike Israel, come on. You put up that sleep is better than anabolic steroids for muscle growth. And I get what he's trying to do with the impact of that headline, right? In terms of, hey, sleep is really important. Don't forget it. Even if you are doing performance enhancing drugs, sleep is still going to be an important aspect in your training, for your recovery, and for things like stimulating muscle growth and adaptations over time. But the thing is, sleep is not going to outperform PEDs. So if you're a natural, you're not going to be bigger than a person using performance enhancing drugs because you sleep 10 hours a night and they sleep 7. The thing is, we do definitely need to sleep at night. So if you're sleeping 4, 5, maybe 6 hours a night, that's probably not optimal in the sense of getting the right amount of sleep to enhance your adaptations. So in terms of that, we know that there is an importance of sleep with muscle protein synthesis overnight, with growth hormone release and things like that. So some of those muscle remodeling pathways are going to be stimulated when we do get more sleep, and especially during deep sleep. So generally speaking, the longer the night goes on, we actually get a little bit less deep sleep with every sleep cycle, but the more cycles we get, the more deep sleep we get. So that's why that general rule of thumb of 8 hours. Now, it is going to have some inter-individual variation there, where some people can get away with 6.5, some people need up to 12. And that's kind of on the extreme sense. But you can only know your body when it comes to sleep. And so my biggest advice that I learned from my PhD is when it comes to sleep, you should be sleeping the amount where in the morning you feel naturally rested when you wake up, which is hard to do in our social lives and with our jobs, where some people have to set that alarm a little bit earlier than what their normal body clock would wake them up at. But in all ideal sense of the word, if we could go alarms off and wake up naturally every morning, that would be the dictator of how much sleep you actually need in a given night. So that's kind of where, if you have the opportunity, week off work and something like that, turn the alarm off, feel out what your usual sleep-wake rhythm is. And the thing is, once you're there, you want to stay within a 1 hour period of that for both going to bed and waking up in the morning. So if you go to bed 30 minutes later, you could probably wake up about 30 minutes later, but also you could probably get away with it as well if you woke up at the same time. The one thing we don't want to do is sleep in too long, especially kind of sporadically on the weekends and stuff where we are afforded a little bit more time. What I would say is with that is, if you do have days off on the weekends and you do feel a little bit tired, try and prioritize a little daytime nap, a siesta, so to speak. I think the Spanish have got that nailed down to a T, in that you don't need to disrupt your evening sleep-wake cycle. What you can just interact with is the midday kind of slump. You take that and you actually use it as an opportunity to nap. Now, not everybody can nap, not everybody has the ability to get naps in, and also people's lives dictate that as well. But ultimately, you should be prioritizing sleep if you want to maximize your gains in the gym. I still very much believe that that is going to be the primary driver to a lot of these muscle adaptations if your training is good and if your nutrition is good. The last thing that people think about generally in their training is their sleep. And obviously, depending on what you're doing, currently right now, I'm in prep for bodybuilding. Now, as you reduce your calories and things like that, and the intensity increases and training just kind of like couples over time, then what we might see is some sleep disturbances. So that's even more of a reason why sleep is important, because we try and maximize that as well, because especially as sleep dictates some of the hunger hormones as well in terms of those leptin and ghrelin levels. So in terms of that, make sure even on prep that you're prioritizing sleep, even if you don't feel like you've got the best night's sleep ever. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because last night I roughly got about 6 hours sleep before the puppy woke me up, which that is the puppy alarm clock. That's where we're at right now. And so that's a lot less sleep than I normally get. I normally get around 8 hours. So I have a gym session. What I've done is ergogenic aid, caffeine. I don't usually have coffee that much anymore, but in terms of getting some caffeine in, so increasing alertness, increasing heart rate, go and hit this gym session. And then later on this afternoon, before 4 p.m, try and get a little nap in if I can. Hopefully the puppy will nap too. And then that way we can increase, or should I say decrease, that sleep debt that we just built up today. So again, one night of sleep disturbance is not going to be the factor of limiting your physiology. It's all going to be a bit more psychological. Ergogenic aid, get some caffeine. I got some sunlight this morning, so sat outside for a little bit just to maintain my kind of circadian rhythm in a sense, and we're going to smash this leg session. So once we get in the gym, we'll see you there. We are in the gym, and we typically start our leg day off with calf raises. So we don't have our typical machine, so I'm just going to use the leg press, which actually, honestly, I think moving forward is going to be my main way to warm up with calves. And I might just stay in leg press instead of doing hack squat. Although I do find hack squat to be more challenging, and I have to just double check this workout because I think hack squat is in there. And so I've talked about this before in previous videos, but we want to just improve active dorsiflexion with the calf raises as we do this. So primarily trying to get as deep into the ankle as possible, and we just get some extra sets of calves in while we're fresh. It's a muscle that normally gets hit at the end of workouts, so that's kind of my thought process. Is it's a bit of a bang for buck exercise, like we warm up from the bottom down, and that's something that you typically will see in your strength and conditioning performance environments with athletes. They'll kind of normally do like a ground-based up type approach in terms of their warm-ups. But I've always found that getting those calf raises in improves my ankle dorsiflexion, which then improves my squat pattern. And again, we don't have to do nothing crazy here, but definitely helps to get some single leg sets in as well, so we're not getting that bilateral force deficit. I think I'm gonna hack squat. Yeah, let's do that. A couple of feeder sets here because I've not used this specific hammer strength hack squat before, so I just want to make sure it feels pretty good. Okay, yeah, we can add a plate for sure. So we'll do our little usual cluster warm-up. So we've got a slight little bit of residual fatigue, and then we'll take a full rest, hit our working sets. So with the clusters, we keep plenty of reps in reserve, do a short rest period, just basically change the weights, and then okay. All right, getting tasty. I actually feel this hack squat way more than the other hack squat that I've been using. So I think this might be a working set weight for this specific hack squat. It has a 90-pound starter, and then we got 135 each side. And so we're trying to get 6-ish reps, I think. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So we will take that little bit more rest. I think I'm going to put my squat sleeves on. So we're just going to rep this out, and then we'll kind of adjust as needed from there. It definitely feels a little bit different to the other hack squat. That's more the shoulder pad based one. Probably 1 rep, 2 reps in reserve there. I did dead stop that last one. That is a difference in itself. Yeah, I think we'll stay here, hit 1 more set, and then we'll go into our next exercise, which is RDLs. So we hit just over 2 minutes of rest, and then we're gonna do the same thing, rep it out, see how far we can get. And this one, I'm gonna fail in the bottom position, so we're gonna take it to a true 1 repetition max. Well, not 1 repetition max, but AMRAP effort, 100%. Alright, so that first set we probably undershot, which I think I got 15 there. So, lesson for the future. Sticking with compound exercises early in the session, we get RDL. We're going to aim for around 7 to 12, so a pretty far rep range, like a pretty large rep range. Also, this strap is definitely different, so we use the slightly longer ones. Problem with having 2 types of the same strap with our Iron Mind straps. So, gonna control the eccentric on this one as always, but not too slow, and then have that longer concentric. Okay, so again, first set we're just leaving 1 or 2 reps in reserve. Gonna take 2.5 minute rest. I might do a little small add and then hit a set to failure. Why are we taking slightly a little bit more rest than normal? I know I've been saying 2 minutes, but with the walking over, setting the timer and stuff like that, and then getting reset up, it's more like 2 minutes 30, 2 minutes 45. And honestly, the answer is because of last night's sleep. So caffeine's going to get us so far, but we also want to make sure that we're giving ourselves the best opportunity to recover as well. So with it being 2 working sets, not super high set volume, so we should be manageable there. But especially with compounds, because we are using more musculature, more energy, can be a slight bit more taxing. And then central nervous system fatigue is normally a little bit more transient after this type of exercise. A little bit lightheaded there. All right, I think next one we got leg extensions on the program. So single leg extension, and we're going to slight a little bit higher. Oh shit. Definitely have never been on this hoist one before. Did not expect this machine to start moving. It's kind of interesting resistance curve. I think that was 12 each side, so we're in that 12 to 15 rep range. And actually, I definitely feel rec fem a lot more in this variation, so that's cool. I like that a lot. But again, we're going to take slightly a little longer rest period than normal, just to get our breath back. And even though normally we shorten the rest because it's single side, I'm definitely feeling a little bit more central nervous system fatigue today. But that kind of shift back helps with the hip extension. I think if I could, I would probably strap into this a little bit, because I do feel like I'm sliding just that little bit, which is probably another reason why I'm not able to get that top end of the rep range based on this weight. But still respectable. Still getting a good quad stimulus, so can't complain there. I don't know if anybody's used this hoist before. I've actually never used it, so that's also a fun little addition. So I don't mind that in terms of a little bit of a kit that we haven't had before. I'm not sure what pinch points means. And so, again, right now we're hitting these as a bit more of like our second accessory quad. We do have one more of a single leg variation as well. Could we go these at the start? I feel like I say this every session. We can switch them around. So I think next week we'll actually start with our single leg riff or elevated pattern. Do a bilateral leg press instead of a hack squat, and then have these in here. But you know my thought process. I think that
doing this first, the pre-exhaust doesn't positively affect my compounds, it actually negatively affects it. So that's why we hit those. Alright. Feels like enough rest. Heart rate's still a little bit high. I'm not wearing my watch today. We're actually going to take a little bit more intra-set rest on this one, just so this right hand side doesn't lose out on some of the gains. Again, you have to let me know in the comments, do you positively or negatively respond to pre-exhaust where you do leg extension before your squat pattern? I'd be intrigued to know what the majority consensus is there, because I don't think there is any consensus in the scientific literature either. That's good. Alright, we do have a single leg pattern next. On complementing our leg extension, we are going to go prone hamstring curl. And you might be like, oh my god, prone hamstring curls. Why wouldn't you just do seated ones? Because that's better. And we have that in our other day. And honestly, because we hit our hard EL pattern, I actually prefer just getting these prone ones in, so we get a little bit more focus towards distal portion of the hamstrings. But again, each to their own on this one. Oh, but that is way too heavy. Maybe in the middle here. Yeah, that's good. One of the things we should clear up, no, it fell off the bench. One of the things we should clear up with this one is that it's not prone hamstrings don't grow the hamstrings, right? The hamstring curl. It's just they might not be as effective as the seated hamstring variation based on that Mayo study because of hip flexion and then the length of the hamstrings in the proximal position. So I think because we hit RDLs, we're predominantly hitting that region, a bit more of a stiff leg if I'm being honest. So then we can complement it with this to get that distal region a little bit more stimulus. Argument could be you still get it in the seated, so do it there, but I still like to throw in different variations from time to time. I don't think this is necessarily suboptimal in these type of conditions. So we'll hit one more set here. I'm actually going to go and do a slight change. And I do predominantly actually do this one with a 2 up, 1 down, but we're just going to go normal concentric, eccentric emphasis today. Keep it a little bit easier. It's last lift of the week, so rest day coming up tomorrow. So don't want too much done, but if I wanted to, I'd have that extra day in between, so we wouldn't hit legs now for another 4 days. All right, second set. we did a slight add, so should be slightly less rep range here. We're going to push to failure, so maybe a rep match, potentially. Definitely not a rep match. Whew. Alright, I think we got some abductors. So do a little switch up here and get some kickbacks in. That's pretty easy. So let's see how that feels. Alright, looks like our machine came open, so that was just a little filler for us. Single leg squat pattern. There we go. So a little bit of single leg squat, so making it slightly quad, slightly glute. Get our breath back on this one, and hopefully we can hit abduct and adduct, although it's not looking hopeful right now. We'll hit one more set here. So much difficult on my right. Right quad is cooked. All right, I think I might just have to call it a day there.